morning and welcome to Daybreak Benue, your breakfast companion. We hope this morning will change your appetite as we discuss very interesting matters. We'll be raising conversations on very interesting and trending issues in Nigeria and of course across the world. My name is Stephen Abba. Welcome to the show.
And my name is Mercy Upa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Mercy. You're looking good and all black.
Thank you very much, and you too. It's the start of a new week, Kadara. July is gradually rolling out, and August is coming with all its
August
prospects.
is here.
August is here.
1st of August is here.
Happy New Month.
All right. Let's quickly talk about one or two matters that arose yesterday. Benue State Governor, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia has appealed to unions, groups, and individuals intending to join the planned August 1st, 2024 protest across Nigeria to rather bring forth their demands and allow government address the challenges. Governor Alia made the appeal Sunday at the Chapel of Grace, Government House, Makudi, where he explained that the government is not resting until the people's welfare and security are guaranteed.
Yeah.
This is the Governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, calling on all groups, everyone across Nigeria to lay down their anger, whatever the grievances are, that government is there to solve their problems, and of course this government is actually thinking about the welfare of the people.
If you ask me, I'll say the message has been heard already.
Yeah.
The government have heard this message loud and clear that there is hunger, because this is a hunger protest to end bad governance here in Nigeria, and they don't necessarily at this point need to still take to the streets, but government have heard, government are reacting, and you could see how much they don't want this protest to go, with a series of meetings that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been holding with almost every key stakeholder that is concerned here. And not just that, right, appealing for an extension, just a limited time for people they will begin to see, all his plans begin to play out. I think Nigerians, if you ask me, in my personal opinion, I think Nigerians should give the president a chance, to...
For how long, Mercy?
Well, just a short while.
You see, a House of Reps member, I watched a clip yesterday. He was saying that there should be a fixed, quick approach to this matter. That in the very short time, maybe in the week's time, something should be done so that Nigerians will now at least trust the government again. It is not good enough to say, give us time, give us some time. This government is over a year now, and it seems nothing has happened positively. For the people to say, okay, at least we're holding on to this. This has happened. I think he can do better. It is very important to note that hunger is a reality that we can't run away from. And you see, the bad thing about hunger is that it's a daily thing. Had it been you were hungry today, you ate today, and you will not be eating for the next 2 weeks. Maybe people will be, but hunger is an everyday thing. That you ate at 12 midnight yesterday didn't mean you are not going to eat at 7 a.m. You understand? So because hunger is a daily thing, we need to do something fast.
Yeah.
Government need to do something fast.
And I'm so glad we're going to be having this conversation extensively when our guest is seated for it.
Yeah, I think this is the right time to bring in our guest. We shall be discussing civic space and policing protests. Our guest is Emmanuel Ikule. He's a public analyst and social engineer, and is also the executive director, Elixir Trusts Foundation. But he'll be seated after this break. Please do not go away.
welcome to the exciting world of Benue Television, where we give you an exclusive ride into the world of news, current affairs, and entertainment. Ready for our first stop? Ride with me. Benue Television.
Our news and flagship program, Daybreak Benue, keeps you informed on events and happenings around the nation and the world.
We engage our guests on hot topics and beam searchlight on shady stories.
With millions of people watching Benue TV worldwide, we ensure that we bring you news that is accurate, timely, and dependable.
Our programs are entertaining and educative with high quality audio, leaving you with an amazing viewing experience.
Benue TV, a new dimension in broadcasting.
We are glad you are still there. This morning we shall be discussing a very interesting topic, and seated in our studio this morning is Emmanuel Ikule. Emmanuel Ikule is the Executive Director of Elixir Trust Foundation and is also a human rights advocate and a security analyst. And the topic in question is civic space and policing protests. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's maybe you give us a background, or probably a review of maybe how will you describe the current civic space in Nigeria?
Civic space itself, it's an environment that gives room for individual, group, citizen participation in a particular government, and particularly in a democratic government. And when you're talking about civic space or civic rights, certainly you'll be looking at section 39, which talks about freedom of expression, section 40 that talks about freedom of association, section 41 that talks about freedom of movement, because all these are very, very pertinent in a democratic government. And when these laws are being respected in a democratic government, it means such a civic space is open.
Okay.
But when the government or other forces try to limit persons from expressing themselves through these various freedoms, then it means at that level there's a shrinking civic space. And when you come to our own country, it so happened that over time, whenever the government hears protest, there's that mentality that they are coming to, they already know why the people are protesting.
Yes.
Because people don't just come out to protest. It's when you have actually accessed other means or available means of complaining, which can be verbal, can be written, can also be through protest. But you protest in other ways, and when you see that all forms or available means have been exhausted, then you proceed to actually protesting physically. When you wait that the arms of government, normally they are being created to check themselves. And when you are not seeing that checks, whatever happens, whatever the executive brings to the legislators, it's simply being approved and all that. Things are going wrong and everybody watches, okay. And it gets to a particular point and citizens are like, we are tired. A particular group or individuals are like, tired. We cannot continue like this. So it goes further to maybe come out to show and then vent their frustration.
Okay, maybe we'll be coming to that, but I'll need you to categorically tell us what is your maybe your take on the present civic space in Nigeria? Maybe for the past 10 years or the inception of democracy. We're not talking about the military era now, because we know what the military stands for. But we're talking about democratically elected governments.
Okay. So, just like I said, for the military already, once any military comes, and the first thing they do is to suspend the constitution, right?
Yeah.
And what makes democracy possible is the constitution.
Yes.
Or supremacy of the constitution. And in our country, let's say democracy came into existence in 1999, although I'll try to limit it to the 10 years you spoke about.
Yeah.
Our government so far have not been able to respect rights, because most of the times people complain about certain things is because of the failure of the government to respond. And the government works through different agencies.
Yeah.
So if you are looking at the police, for the past 10 years, how have the police responded to protest? How have the police responded to the complaints of the people? So if people are coming out to actually complain about issues that have been affecting them, how have the police responded? So you'll be expecting that the police, as a creation of the law, is supposed to, first of all, primarily understand the law and work within the ambit of the law.
Yeah.
So if you understand the law and you respect the sections 33 up to 44, and you respect and know the rights of citizens, then you shouldn't be expecting anybody to inform you that this person has this right, right? And the Administration of Criminal Justice Law actually also specifies, even when somebody is as a suspect, there are certain laws you have. But over time, we have seen situations where when people come out to even make a comment, don't forget that this government exists for us.
Yeah.
It's not for themselves or for their benefits, it's for us. Inclusive of them though. But it's for us. The police exists to function, to work for our own security, primarily. But what we have seen in the past, it has been like a continuation of the colonial rule, where police was created to protect the interests of the colonial masters. So they now coming on board, they are also protecting the persons that have replaced the colonial masters, and that is our leaders. So people generally are not happy with the quality of elections that have happened in the past. And when you are looking at democracy, many persons, or should I say persons, are elected. And when you look at the processes, a lot of persons are not comfortable. And when you are not comfortable, that brings about, affects the legitimacy of such a government.
Yeah.
And when people don't trust you or don't accept you, it affects how they relate with you. And then you are the hem of affairs too. You are supposed to look at how you can work to be able to get that trust from the people. But over time, whenever I hear about people coming out to complain, maybe they want to replace. Look at in 2020, for example, during the NSAS. People came out to actually protest against bad policing. For some of us that have been in the sector for a while, many persons have constantly been arrested incommunicado. For our state here, maybe recently, maybe it has reduced, maybe not, but there have been many times that I've seen. I stay in high level, so I know many times there's hardly any compound in high level that will not tell you that their house or their area has been raided, or persons just standing in front of their houses have been arrested and taken to police station and kept there, and then the next day they ask you to come and pay bail for you to be released. That is abused. So when citizens are abused consistently and the government tends to be blinded or tends not to look in that direction, it means their rights are not respected. If in a military dispensation I can be free to walk wherever I want, and then in a democracy you are telling me that I cannot move, I am not guided by your opinion. I am guided by the laws guiding the states. So as a president, you cannot even tell somebody don't move, except in section 45 that talks about emergencies. So if there's no emergency and I'm leaving my house, maybe I came back late and then I slept, I woke up around 1, I'm hungry, for example, And then I decide, okay, it's possible one or two places I may get food. And then as I'm strolling out of my house and say, oh, I have told you not to leave the house by 10 p.m. You should be in your house and you arrest. No, you don't have such powers. You are there to do or make decisions that affect us positively. Yeah. So when you are there and then you try to make it to become like you own people, then people at some point will complain. So when you are the complaints, just like I said, people can complain online. People can complain by writing petitions. People can complain by suing the government. And then people can do the protest. Those are maybe about, then also association. People can also associate. I feel, okay, a particular area or a particular aspect, maybe in the aspect of agric, maybe the area I'm staying at, decide that, okay, this state, for example, we don't have a particular crop and I need people that have of like minds. Let us meet together. We can associate. Yeah. Even if it's in trying to even form political parties, the law permits it. If it's about religion, I'm also free to gather. Yeah. Because the law also permits it. There's a right to freedom of religion and beliefs and all that.
Okay. And in this circumstance, because right now we're in an era where the social media is filled with hashtag end bad governance slated for 1st of August to 10th of August, you know, a protest against hunger in the land. Do you think that Nigerians have actually exhausted every other means of communicating to the government that they are now taking to protest?
Yes, I say it that way. First, when any government comes on ground, before you even get elected into positions, you are supposed to already know the plans you have for the people. Of course. You're also supposed to also know the problems you are coming to address as a president or as a leader before you even go into the seat. Yes, sometimes you go into the seat and discover it's not as maybe you felt or you thought, but at least they are supposed to be planned way or a planned work plan or your plans for such a group of persons that you're coming out to lead. And in going there, the people are also supposed to see that you are working around the plans you told them, the roadmap we gave them, because those may be the basis why you were being elected and not the other persons in the first place. Then coming to the office itself, this particular, because we're talking about current situation, this particular government came on ground and already there were plans and different persons made opinions of removing subsidy and all that. And when they came on ground, it was one of the things he actually accepted about removal of subsidy. To make a decision, a policy decisions, there are plans you make. You don't just remove. There have to be something in place to caution the situation, and not this unnecessary sharing of food as if Nigerians have become beggars. That which most times, even if you give bags of rice, it doesn't reach to anybody. They still rebag it, just like we're seeing currently, and being sold. So we are talking about subsidy, and that was possible. That has been the situation because our refineries have not been working. It's already a non-issue. So why not the money is being used? Because if you are removing subsidy, what have you used that subsidy money for? And if you have also recognized that with the removal of subsidy, that's increase or spike increase in a lot of things, you are also supposed to make plans to cushion that. So if you have removed subsidy, there's also need for you to also show at the level of government that we also have understood the plight of the people, and then let us reduce cost of governance. There have not been reduction in cost of governance. Instead, there have been unnecessary expenses on want. Refurbishment of vice presidential lodge is not a need at this time. Getting of jets is not a need at this time. Those monies could have been channeled to either getting a new refinery or getting a refinery or refurbishment of the old ones. It's a primary need now, even more than even the roads they are making. That is the primary thing. If you do that to an extent, it addresses a very big concern, because we will not be getting fuel at the price of 1,000 something or thereabout in state. Automatically it reduces to the barest minimum. which in turn affects the life of the people. So when you are making policies that positively does not impact on the lives of citizens, they will complain. And secondly, if you are coming out or you are making decisions, we expect that the agencies or the arms of the government check. As executive is making decisions, the legislations, once they bring things for approval, budgetary approvals to you, there are certain things you check. You are representing the people, not just yourself. But unfortunately in our country also, it has been that over the years we have only seen group of persons that protect the interests of political parties and not the citizens that actually voted them to go and represent them.
And repeatedly the president has come out to ask Nigeria, appeal that more time be given to his government for Nigerians to actually see the benefits of some of these policies that he has laid bare.
When you look at it, just like I gave example, just the increase in cost of a lot of things have just been the subsidy. If, for example, now that subsidy was not removed, we won't be getting fuel. A lot of increase in prices of everything actually spiked immediately that was done. So that means if that is also addressed, automatically it would have, to an extent, reduced or solved some problem already. When you already know a solution to a problem and you have negated it, what is the use of a new jet now, presidential jet now for Nigeria? So the people, you are telling the people that be patient will do something, and they are not looking at how the something you are doing relates to them having that better life. They are not looking at you doing policies that in 5 years time or in 3 years time they'll feel good that yes, we're patient enough, now we can reap from our patience. There's no sign showing that in the next 2 or 3 years that will be done. I'm not sure. I have heard that we are working towards building a new refinery soon.
But there have been support given to Dangote refinery to get a kickstart and rolling, and it's expected that in August there should be ample supply of PMS cut across Nigeria.
I don't belong or even accept that school of thought. Nigeria as a government is supposed to have its refinery primarily. Dangote refinery is a private business. I keep telling people that. And part of the reason why our economy is this crumbled is because we adopted a very wrong aspect of privatization, where we render the government homeless or without anything on hand. And when you don't have anything on hand, you lack the bargaining chip to talk.
And you're aware that over time, lots of resources have been invested into government-owned refineries, getting kickstarted, NNPC, but for some reason, because of the complexity, and even Dangote had to even, Obasanjo had to even come out to say that, wow, Nigeria is such a complex country. It's so complicated where the military can tell you the jet is missing, you should release money to go free it, and then when you say the jet can get lost, somehow the jet just returns. It's that complex in almost every sector, right? It's like a chain of a cabal of saboteurs.
A ship missed
consistently working. I was actually referring to the ship.
And our satellite also left its orbit.
So you will see where I'm coming, the angle I'm coming from, right? Over time, resources are being put into getting our Nigerian refineries to work, but somehow it just can't work.
Okay, so the federal government has the monopoly of a lot of things, right? They are in control of the refinery. It's a Nigerian company, right? And they also have monopoly of violence. I know where I'm coming from. So if this company is yours, it means you can repair it. If there's anything wrong with it, you can put it in place. If you have not repaired or you don't want to put it in place, it's not a question of if they cannot. The question is the willingness. We have, under Abacha, before Abacha left, before Abacha died, the refineries were working. Shortly after Abacha died, everything crumbled, and the refineries, that was how many years back? 20-something years. And what made it work? Is it because the military were then? Is the military not available now? It's because those at the helm of affairs have deliberately, or maybe they are benefiting indirectly from the refinery not working. Why will you carry money to go and invest in a company when you have yours and you have refused to invest? Let's actually try to be sincere with ourselves. Let them come out with the budgetary allocations they have made and who they have sent to and the companies they have given the money to actually repair the companies, and the companies have failed to do it. And if they have made budgetary allocations to get a new company and then as well it has also failed to work, or the persons have eaten the money, if the persons have even eaten the money, don't they have the powers to still detain or arrest the person and prosecute the person? So what we are seeing here is absence, I'm not saying lack of, absence of political will, because it's not there.
All right. We Mercy asked earlier if before the protest, if citizens have exhausted all avenues to talk to the government, and you said yes, you believe that citizens have done that. Okay, now 1st of August is just by the corner, and governments at every level are still asking, traditional rulers are asking the citizens not to carry on with this protest. But we've not heard from any quarters where they'll say, okay, we are not going to. Usually the leaders of these protests are usually faceless. You can't even see this is the leader, this is the leader, but because of the social media, they are working behind the scene. Okay, now, in your own opinion, do you think this protest should hold?
Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution actually gives rights to citizens to protest. So one, everybody has a right to protest.
Okay.
That is one. And a particular government being guided by the 1999 Constitution, it's a right to protest. Secondly, excuse me, it's not a crime to protest. So citizens should disabuse their mind that, okay, protesting, it's a bad thing. It's not. The government should disabuse their mind that because people are coming to protest, they are not killing anybody. We are not talking about riots. We are talking about protests. Protests, you are coming out to express your opinions, and you are coming out to make maybe a request why you are protesting and all that. So at that point, you are not coming out to fight anybody. So most times you hear the divergent opinions of people saying that yes, most protests will turn into riots. It will no. I was in Lagos in 2020 during the NSAS. It was not that I heard. I was there. I was staying in Lagos when these things happened during that time. In fact, on the day that Orile was attacked, when riots started, it was not at the place where people were protesting. It started on a different place. On that particular day, we had advocacy to the PRO's office. On reaching the PRO left 5 minutes, PRO of Lagos. Currently, the Prince Moyinwa PRO force headquarters. He was the person at the state. We had in his office on that particular day. So when people start saying protest leads, no. Protesters were at a different venue. Riot started at a different venue.
Okay, but we have intel from different quarters. The police, former DSS boss, said they have intel that this protest from the 1st to 10th of August is going to be hijacked. But you'll be talking about that when we come back from this break. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this break. Do not go away. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Daybreak Benue on Benue Television, and the topic has been civic space and policing protests. Our guest this morning is Emmanuel Ukule. He is the executive director of Elixir Trust Foundation. He's also a human rights advocate and a security analyst. Earlier we were talking about how that Intel says this protest is going to be hijacked. How possible is that, and what is the reaction to that?
It's in every democratic government, you expect persons at the helm of affairs to be sincere with us as citizens. But over time, we have not seen that sincerity, and it comes also in this aspect. Why is it that anytime people talk about protest, there's always that intel that the protest is going to be hijacked? When political parties are protesting, why don't they get that same intel that the protest is going to be hijacked? These persons in this office, currently the president and also the last even former president Buhari, during this time, both of them came into leadership through protest. But now they are trying to criminalize protest. The first question is, could this protest, was it possible to avoid this protest in the first place? Yes, it was very possible. That is why I'm saying that when you before you come into any position, it means you already know the plight of the people and you are coming to address it. That is why you are there, to actually head administration. If you lack the capacity or lack the will, don't go there. You're already rich on your own. Stay at home and enjoy your food. But at this point, people are not just looking at, we are looking at a government, at a country where in the next 2 or 3 years, when this type of bad policies continue, this country may crumble. Already we are having a debt of how many trillion currently? And then citizens are looking the next 30 years, these persons at the helm of affairs may not be there. So what happens to us and our children? So if you don't try to fix it now, what is the possibility that these same persons will fix it tomorrow? Especially when you are just thinking about self. You are building a mansion in Lagos for a president in Abuja. You are building another mansion for vice, for people that are in Abuja. Why are you building all these things? And you are calling these things in billions and in trillions. What are the policies you are doing to affect people? Those are the things people are looking at. A lot of persons were not comfortable with the quality of elections being done, bringing him to the office in the first place. But citizens were okay, because we're disappointed also in the work of the judiciary, what they have done. Citizens also have lost trust in them. Initially, judiciary were looking at it as the last hope of the common man. But currently, if you try to get stats from people, they have also lost hope in the judiciary. That means the available body or arm they were looking at was the legislature. Now, currently, every bill and everything being brought through the presidency is straight acceptance. And then people are looking at you that are supposed to represent our voice, you are not actually speaking out. So we are tired. Let us now come out and speak. And as I'm saying, this intel that they keep getting, I'm very sure that maybe, let's not forget that when Boko Haram came, until date, Boko Haram, there are certain locations in Northeast that Boko Haram are collecting, should I say tithes? Tax. They are collecting tax till date. Is the military not aware? And it's sad when a military leadership is talking about protest in a country. That is not their responsibility.
Actually,
that's the responsibility of the police.
No,
Let them.
It's not the military per se. It's police. Yes, there was an interview and a former DSS boss.
Military have done press conference to talk about protest.
All right.
This is not your mandate. Go and concentrate on your mandate, on external aggression and guiding external invasion and all that. Attend to issues of Boko Haram. Settle that matter once and for all. Leave policing within the country under the leadership of the police. That is recognized by the constitution. So when you leave your primary role and start infiltrating the works to be done by the police. That is why, for me, I have always said, that is why we have crisis all around, because we have the military being infiltrated. Go to other countries, you hardly see any military officer, because they are doing their primary work. But in Nigeria, they are everywhere, and they will continue to give excuses that the police is not doing. Let them go to their primary duty. Let the police do, and let them fail, and then we'll accept that they have also failed. So, for the intel they are talking about, there's nothing like intel.
Okay.
Looking at the history of protests in Nigeria so far, not just even in Nigeria, recently, the kind of protests that happened in Kenya, which, of course, the presidents will be right to worry that protests in Nigeria is coming at a time where what Kenyans are experiencing,
Ghana,
took a different overturn, and now it has even led to the point where it is no longer just about the demands, but rather a request for the president to resign. Right? So now, of course, you understand the president of Nigeria to worry that this protest may lead to, or may fear that this protest may be hijacked, going by the fact that there appears to be more political undertone to this protest than ever before. There may be a level of sincerity in other protests, but this particular protest, #EndBadGovernance in Nigeria, slated for August, seems to have a lot of political undertones, because if people look at reactions from governors from different states, there is that political divide where the governors of the PDP party are for the protest and coming out with a voice saying the citizens have the right to protest, they should protest, however it should be peaceful. Recently we had a reaction from the Oyo State Governor Sheyi Makinde coming out to support this protest wholeheartedly. Now you not find where the APC governors are against this protest, saying give President Tinubu more chance. So there is a lot of political divide, and going with the mistrust that happened under the Tinubu's election, where many felt like they were shortchanged, and this elections was actually power taking and not power given. Therefore, they may do everything to frustrate this administration and ensure that nothing actually works. So isn't Nigerians, still going ahead with this protest, just dancing to the usual gallery, what I even call political madness, where one government is on board and the other one just tries to destroy everything that one is doing, frustrate every effort, and when that one leaves and another one comes, it's now back and forth, and Nigerians keep being so gullible and keep just dancing to the gallery. Isn't this what's happening here?
There's always, in every government, there's what we call good leadership. There's leadership and there's followership. When, for any government to, or any country to progress, these two have to work. The leadership and the followership. If leadership is working and followership is failing, there will not be balance, right? And a situation where followership is working and government is failing, still there won't be a balance. So two have to work. But the first thing I will say is this: I think most of our political leaders normally come down here to serve. And what if the people come out and say, we don't want you to serve us? Is it honorable enough for you to say, okay, I came to serve you, but since you are not interested, let me just resign honorably and go? Is that possible? If you are coming to serve me and I say I'm not interested, I'm just saying. Because most of this administration, that is where their mindset is. You are trying to change me. The last time, during 2020, when persons came out for protest, they gave some information to some persons in Abuja, and they felt, okay, we're trying to change the president. And then it became something of maybe because he came from the north. And so some persons started also doing pro-government protests as well in Abuja and other locations, trying to fight those protesters and all that. This is like a misinformation. And a lot of persons are trying to link protests in Nigeria to Kenya. Nigeria have been protesting for how long? Even this year there was a protest. Let's not forget, there was a protest earlier this year. And during that protest, for people that paid attention to it, because they came to protest against this same hunger. The government said, give us time. Most times we don't follow up these things. Please, we can check online and see the demands of these persons when they came out to protest.
Are you talking about the protests led by labor unions?
Yes, this year.
That led to increments of minimum wage?
Yes, this year. And outside that, there were people protesting for hunger. You can check online, almost different states did that already. So the government came out and said, give us some time, we are going to address these concerns. Just within this short period of time, what has the government done to actually address these concerns? We are saying that after they also wasted money on sitting upon sittings in trying to increase the minimum wage. I know I'm still using that word, wasting money. There are certain decisions that you don't continue to wait. It's like you know the issue of your people. You must not wait for people to come and protest for you to be able to do it. But you waited for that to happen. Outside the minimum wage thing that was approved, what else? Within this period of time, a new jet has been bought. Within this period, you are already telling people that please adjust to the situation. And people are waiting that the main thing, just like I said earlier about the refinery stuff. You know very well this automatically, because even if you farm or make you're into agri, you need vehicles to transport your goods to the market and all that. As long as the vehicle to transport or the means of transportation to the locals or to the distributors is there and is very expensive, automatically those goods are expensive. So when the people are not looking at that, then it becomes an issue. So, and for a government that thrives or is trying to thrive on misinformation and trying to also criminalize a lot of things, it's only also hardening on preparing the minds of the people that are suffering, because it gets to a particular point that they won't be able to take it anymore. People are dying daily because of hunger. People are dying of unemployment. People are still in incarceration. If you go to the correctional centers we have, 70% of persons are awaiting trial persons. That means they have not decided whether they are actually guilty or not guilty of the offenses, and some have been there for quite a number of years. It means no law permits you to do that. So if you have decided, because I am at the helm of affairs, I will continue to oppress citizens, you were there to actually work for us, and then you get there and start working against us. And then law enforcement officers on their own, when you hear about people coming to protest, one, they have also made locations. I've seen 1 or 2 flyers. They have indicated locations where they are going to protest. Why not go there and do your work, which is what you follow them through as they are protesting. You follow them as they are actually protesting. You follow them as they are protesting, right? And if at any point in time they are trying to go against that, you follow them and arrest them. I actually advocate for freedom to protest. Freedom to protest is a right. But when you turn it to riot, anybody that goes to destroy anything should be arrested and prosecuted. Right? Because that is not protest at this time. But hearing intel is fine. It's your work as policing officers or security agencies. Follow the process and see how you can prevent that from happening. If you know that a crime or group of armed robbers are coming through this way, there's a way you can prevent that from happening, or put things in structures or in place to ensure that those armed robbers do not get to this particular
What are the
point.
preventive measures? Isn't it calling on people to rather not come out and protest? Because we're seeing that from almost all the crannies, where even the daughter of the president called out to market to many Lagos, telling them not to come out to tell their children not to come out to protest.
So that's why I'm saying that is criminalization of protest. People want to protest. Why are you going? It's not even telling them. They're actually threatening people not to come out, which is wrong. It's a crime. You are there. You are going against the 1999 Constitution because it gives freedom of expression. So if they want to express themselves and you are telling them, if you come out, you'll be arrested. If you come out, we'll drive you from this market. Already you are criminalizing protest. It shouldn't be.
Let's go back to 2020. #EndSARS. It was alleged that some persons were killed, especially at Lekki Tollgate. Up until now, no arrest has been made, nobody was prosecuted, and the rest of them. So you now begin to think that if this is the case, then the possibility of it happening again is there, because there was no deterrent when it happened in 2020. And you should know that NSAS was not taken to its conclusive end as a result of maybe religion. You mentioned earlier that the president was from the north. Then of course religion, region, and tribal and all that, they'll now begin to sift in. Don't you think the same case may occur? Because what government, like you said something about the government having monopoly of violence, which is true. It's governments that make war. If you don't have capacity, you can't make war. So now we have August 1st protests, and a hijacking took place, which is very possible. Hijacking here in the sense that people can be bribed, can be given money to come cause mayhem, and you say, well, they are the ones protesting and they are the ones making this riot. Then of course issues of, oh, it's because he's a Yoruba man, you want to remove him. You know, these things, they are there with us. Body George said these are the two devils that the British left with us: religion and tribe. Don't you think this protest will be a repeat of what happened in 2020?
It still boils back to leadership.
Okay.
It still boils back to leadership. In the last protest, why is that? Just like I said earlier, I gave instance of why people were actually protesting. Yeah. Different locations, some persons actually came out, started destroying things, but this, just like I said, it's all leadership, because it was still the same leadership that brought people to come and infiltrate. Not to even come and infiltrate. The leadership brought security agencies, the police, the military to come and kill protesters. I was privileged to also attend the tribunals we had, the panels of inquiries on NSAS in different states.
Yeah.
Persons were killed. It's not assumption or being alleged. It's a reality.
Yeah.
Many persons were killed. And when nobody's been held to account is one of the reasons why people will continue to protest. Means as a government, they are supposed to be accountable to the people. That is why I say create democracy of the people, for the people, and by the people. So if you are in leadership and you feel you are autocratic, then we shouldn't have a democracy. It should just go back to the military. So you came out and killed your citizens, right? In Abuja, police vans and public government cars carried thugs, took them to where protesters were, went and burnt cars. These are video evidences online which people generally can see. And then you come out to tell people that protesters turn violent. No. You as a government, if it went and destroyed things, killed citizens, just to criminalize protest. So this one, if this government is really serious, already they have been failing. No government is perfect. They have made some attempts and they have made some policies that they feel things will work well for the people. Good and fine. In this situation, if they are really interested in working for the people, what I suggest is this. Let the police, some monies I also heard about 15 billion. I don't know how true that is. There's always rumors these days on everything that have been channeled towards the police to aid them to police protest. So they should go and observe and work with the protesters and follow them as expected, or guide them as they protest and everything. Just like I said, let the government avoid this issue of these people want to come and replace us. No. Part of the crisis that happened in Lagos and some cars getting burned, protesters were shot at, some were killed, and these persons ran to their homes. Don't forget, these persons that went to protest have brothers, have sisters, have relatives. You won't be happy to know that your son died. And the president came out on air, I think it was the following day, and didn't even talk about it. Some persons got angry and along the line went and destroyed things. These persons were not people from other states, were citizens of the same state. coming out to vent to. That is why they know they cannot go to the governor's house to go and attack the government. Because they knew it was the government that came and killed them. And to them is to go back and destroy the structures of the government. But this is a crisis of the state, because same structures we are destroying is still our property.
Yeah.
Not just the people at the helm of affairs, but the properties for everybody. It shouldn't be the case. But that was a wrong way of responding or to telling the government that you're angry at them. And certainly, for some of us, we never advise anybody to go and destroy anything. Work within the law. If you don't destroy anything, you just go out and protest and make your ideas or your protest known to the government, and you destroy nothing, it's fine. If at that level you are being arrested by the government, people can as well come out and then defend you. And in our country, there's always that issue of divide and rule. So they use the religion, the tribe, the section and all that as a selling point, and a lot of persons buy into it. So when even some persons are ready to go and even fight against them, especially when maybe it's their brother or somebody that is in government. But we are hoping their citizens are better enlightened. Please, I know that a lot of citizens feel it's only people in government that has a duty to the state. As citizens, we have a duty also to the state.
Okay, the hashtag NSAS protest, many people, though it didn't accomplish in totality what it set out to do. It started so well but ended tragically. But many are now saying that this hashtag End Bad Governance is a part 2 of the hashtag NSAS protest. And the government currently on that position are calling on the leaders of the hashtag End Bad Governance to come out for dialogue and lay bare these demands that already seem to be circulating on social media, so they can dialogue. But so far so good, no one has actually come forward yet, and that dialogue on the part of the government is not happening yet. Remember, dialogue is always one of the strongest instruments of conflict resolutions.
Yeah.
So if this is not happening, don't you think the government may feel justified that they made attempts to see how they can respond to the plight of Nigerians, but they are not willing to?
There's no justification for criminalization of protest. And just like I said, I may decide to protest, for example, in my own house now, for example. I may decide maybe in my father's house, because maybe I'm angry with a particular thing, I may decide not to eat. I've not gone to go and tell my father or my mother that I'm angry on a particular thing. I may just decide not to eat. They on their own may notice that there's something wrong. Maybe I'm a foodie, so maybe I love food, and then all of a sudden I've decided not to eat. That may make them think, okay, what is wrong? There's maybe something wrong, right? But in this particular situation, let me even say it here. Nobody is not, everybody is aware of the situation of the country now. The so-called demands that are also flying on air is not new to the government. So, if these persons have made certain demands, you already are aware of these demands. Why wait until you dialogue again with them? They've already informed you that these are the things I'm protesting for. Start working towards it. It's already a show that yes, you are responsive to their request. It prevents a lot of things. And for people that were also not aware, the NSAS protests also give rise to a lot of things being done. The Police Act of 2020 that we have currently was signed because of NSAS. There are a lot of things that before now, what we're using was a Colonial Act of 1943. With just little killing and that, but so it was a Colonial Act. So it was after NSAS that made that possible for us to have a police act that captures, criminalizes arrest in lieu, where you arrest people for the crime of other persons, as already captured in the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. And you have certain innovations like that gives police also the powers to get persons that people with expertise in certain fields that they are not good enough to come and complement them. That gives rights for formation of the complaint response unit to report conduct of young police officers in all states. in our state here, we are just also working on forming or making it operational in our state. So there are other things like the Nigerian Police Trust Fund was also not functional. It was also with that protest. In short, there are other things that came on ground just because of that protest. So, but the question here is this: if people don't protest, these things that they are requesting, don't the government know? And if you know, what is stopping you from actually doing it, knowing fully well that you have already told the people you are going there to represent them? So why wait for them to protest before you wake up from your slumber? That's yes, okay, come, let's dialogue. Stop being afraid of protest. Go about your normal duty as a government. Since you are there to serve the people and you feel, or you have said you are working for the people, continue on normal listen as a government. People are protesting, they have made requests. Even if you don't see the faces, you have seen the request. The important thing is the request that you have seen.
Walk us through some of the demands of this hashtag End Bad Governance protest.
One among this, it's about subsidy. That's the removal didn't. It's not helping the people, and since there are not alternative ways to cushion this, it should be brought back.
But the people, they are aware of the implication, the long-term implication of bringing back subsidy. I mean, removal of soil subsidy was a necessity because in the long run, Nigeria would have gone broke because it's something that Nigeria would not have been able to sustain.
We are still borrowing, right? So it has not solved anything. So if you are removing something, for example, we are standing on a chair is standing on four legs. If you remove one of the legs, it won't be stable. If you remove the other, it makes it worse. It will continue like that. That means you have to find something. So if you are removing the leg, you need something to wedge it. There have to be something to replace something. You don't just exist out of nothing. So fuel subsidy, in short, the idea of subsidy is because of non-functional of our refinery. So if there's a refinery already working, there won't be the idea of subsidy in the first place. So you already know this. So in removing the subsidy, the billions of naira that the governments have been using to do this subsidy, or even after they have removed this they have stopped giving subsidies. The money, where have they channeled the money to? Channel these resources to refurbishment of the refinery or build a new one. Let's stop talking about.
Sorry to butt in here.
Yes.
Globally, the world is even trying to see how they can hold conversations away from PMS, away from crude oil, and see how because of the emission and climate change and all of that. And even the Tinubu administration had sought to some extent prioritize agriculture. But you notice when he came on board recently, there was an increase in food holding, and which is again, for some people, is a way of expressing their grievances against the election that happened. So you can understand the complexity of all of this and why oftentimes he came out to say that there are saboteurs, political saboteurs, fighting to see that his administration does not succeed.
He has done the same. So it's like not a new thing. But just like I said, as a government that wants to work, you don't give powers in the hands of individuals. You don't make individuals too strong or above the government. So build government structures that the people can hold. This is our thing. 20 years back, before we handed over, before the military handed over to democratically elected government, we had we're using the refineries. We also have like Nigerian Airways, right? We have the NIPA. We have Nigerian Electricity Company. It was government owned. We had NITEL, that was government owned. So the idea here is this: you privatize anything and you don't have any leverage to do anything. You cannot check people when it's a private company. There's a limit to what you can check. So when you are talking about working in different sectors instead of just the working on PMS alone, if NITEL was working, won't be importing phones from other places. Would have made NITEL that particular ICT company that actually provides that company that provides all these phones and everything. And at the point where MTN came into Nigeria and our government, with their own ideas, accepted MTN, there could have just been partnership at that point to make phones, because in Africa what we're using was just landlines. We could have made phones and maybe could have been supplying to the whole of Africa. Just the phones and the SIMs. We may not. So at this time, do you know the type of money we would have made? ICT has not been enhanced still date in this country. That is second. The government has been talking about gas. But let me also bring this to us. Nigeria, in Benue, for example, we have minerals. I'm not sure there's any country in the world that have more minerals than Nigeria. In the world, we have gold in this country, and there are different times you hear some undertones or some little noises here and there about miners. Why have the government not built the companies of the same different minerals and try to see how the resources gotten from this can be used to develop the country? That is why I told you earlier, and I told us earlier about the political will. Even currently, the crude oil that we have currently, is Nigeria getting 100% of the revenue of the crude oil? No. Who is still helping us in, bringing out this crude oil? We are still working with Shell and Chevron. How long have they been here? So there are still some things that are still underground. The gold and the other minerals that are still in this country, people are still removing it. People are still benefiting from it. If the government is serious and not a beneficiary of that criminality, then they should come out and actually build these companies that actually help us to get these revenues that develops the country. But the problem has been that even with the little or even that PMS, where is the accountability?
Okay, let's still go back a little. In all this, especially now that this protest is looming, what is where is a civil society organization? What is their role in this? Probably to conscientize the people, or what is their role in this matter?
Okay, at the level of civil society, I work in the civil society too. So
yes, is what I'm asking.
One, it's our role to enlighten the people that yes, you have the right to protest, but everything has a limit. You can protest, but you cannot riot. As long as you work, don't forget that everybody has the same rights that you have. You cannot force anybody to follow you and protest. That's why I have freedom of association too. So people of like minds who come together means you have agreed on a common goal, you have agreed on the location, you have agreed on associating to move, also movement together, to move and protest about something. It's fine, it's allowed. You cannot force other people to join you. That is one. You of like minds have decided to protest. It's a right respected by the Constitution. So you can protest, fine. But while doing that, any other thing, any violence that you attach to it, it's a crime. And you can be actually be arrested and prosecuted for it. At our level, or should I say directly, we have done, my organization work in different states. So we have been able to, we trained police command, Ocean Police Command, on policing emergency and protest. Actually, we actually trained the police command on this to make so, because there are most times the citizens and the police. So the citizens have to know their rights. The police have to also know their rights. So for us, we sensitize both. We use social media handles, maybe through press releases, through flyers online, through webinars, to enlighten people about their rights as citizens. At the same time, we also build capacities of the Nigerian police force or other law enforcement agencies on also how to police the protest. I gave example of the police, but outside that, we have also worked with other organizations to build capacity of the Southwest Security Network, which is Amotekun. We also did that. So on generally non-violent ways of protesting, right? So as long as anything violent is a crime.
Well, has the CSOs done anything concerning this? Because I've not seen any of them on the social media space talking to citizens. The only thing I saw is some few individuals, some social media influencers coming out to say we are not part of the now they are talking to social media influencers because they know they can influence a large number. They have a lot of following, so they are coming to say we are not going to be part of this protest and all that. But the CSOs, what are you doing so that this particular protest will not become a riot? Because the police has the right to be afraid, the government has the right to be afraid, because you are dealing with human beings that have emotions, and these emotions most times are not even in their own control. A lot of things can just trigger something else, and it's like a wave. By the time somebody starts, everybody will begin to. So what have you done concerning this particular protest that's looming?
Yeah, so before we have protest, there's something we call early warning. Before certain things happen, there's early warning signs to show that something like this is going to come already. There have been series of engagements. If you check online, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Clean Foundation also have done early warning programs with the police. They have done series of trainings for the police. Just like for my organization, Lexia Trust Foundation, we have done training for Amotekun. We have done for the police. Still about how to handle these issues. These are efforts that have been done over the years because we already were looking at the possibility of something like this already coming. There have been activities currently also by CSOs in different locations. If you check online, you'll still see. I don't want to be mentioning names.
You don't have to mention names. Yes. I'm talking particularly about engagement with citizens. It's very important.
That's why I say at the level of engagement with citizens, it has always been a continuous process.
All right.
It has been a continuous process, and for my organization, even within this state, in the next 2 weeks, we'll still be having an engagement with young persons around civic space here in Makurdi, Benue State. So that is to further enlighten citizens about what is their rights and what is their responsibility also to the state. So it's a two-way thing, just like I said earlier. You have your rights, but you also have responsibility to the state. Yes, at the level of government, as you are trying to also police protest, you're also looking to balance the public order so that things don't get wrong. It's fine. It's their duty to also ensure that certain things are in place. And we, from our own angle, will continue consistently to try to bridge that gap. But just as we are saying, we always enlighten citizens. Don't turn this, or don't go and riot. Protest is a right, yes. But at the point where any other thing goes above that, where you start destroying things, that is crime. And at that level, you can be prosecuted for. And for citizens that work within the ambit of the law, you go out to protest and you have worked within the law. If you are being arrested at that point, you have done no wrong, you are just marching on the street and they brought, maybe there have been raids and they come and pick you up. Those ones, even my NGO can go there directly to the police for you to be freed, because you have done nothing wrong. But where you go and start destroying things, personally, I won't even have that.
Okay, talk to us about approach employed by the president to ensure that this protest doesn't happen, because we see him doing everything possible to ensure it doesn't happen, with a series of meetings he'll be having with APC governors, with traditional rulers, with Islamic religious scholars. And then we're seeing a response so far where even if social media influencers are coming out to disassociate themselves with this protest. These are strategies that you will see coming from one who is experienced at being part of protests, right? So far so good. Do you think the strategies are working, and are they against this civic rule here?
there are strategies to different things, and just like you said, he has been part of the protest. He has benefited from the protest. In fact, he's in government because of protests.
Yeah.
So, for someone that have been part of the process for a long period of time, he is trying all the ways to actually put a clog in the wheel or protest, let it not work in the first place. It's fine, but for some of us, why that is fine. My own is, I know very well that you cannot just call governors and go and sit them in one place and then let them go. You cannot call traditional rulers and sit them together without spending some monies. Monies are going out in billions. So citizens still may get annoyed still with the processes. In a current situation where there's insecurity everywhere, a lot of governors are wasting public funds, moving from one town to the other, even when it's not even necessary, on jets, private jets here and there, wasting public funds. The process of relating with influencers, the process of relating with governors is fine. It's a good step. It's fine because as long as it's negotiation, as long as it's dialogue, it's always welcome. If the government continues like that, it's fine. But another step now is, if other persons still insist on still protesting, let's not forget, talking to governors, talking to traditional rulers, don't forget that, do people even have trust in these governors? Do people have trust in these traditional or religious leaders? So, even if you talk to the governors, talk to these traditional or religious leaders, and people still do not trust them,
but there's a great level of trust in influencers and love. I mean, we can't deny the fact that influencers, when they come on board, especially celebrities, they actually pulled in a lot of strings and weight on board. I mean, we saw the NSAS protest, taking that shape it took because we had on board celebrities, leading that protest.
So we may actually, for influencers, for people that allow themselves to be influenced, generally it's fine. But you see, this type of person, for me, I try to look at the situation on the ground and try to analyze to a particular extent how it's going, how it should be. A lot of persons use personal opinions to air online a lot, which gives room for misinformation and all that over time. And then, so people coming out to talk about people not protesting, you can advise people, just like I said. It's fine. Just like you advise your fellow brothers and sisters at home not to do certain things, it's fine. A lot of persons are also skeptical for fear of also being attacked or people being killed or something. It's still fine. The government going for that to advise people is fine. And a lot of persons, I interacted with somebody as well in different locations. A person was like, people should go to their state and protest.
Yeah, I saw that online too.
Yeah, and then I was like, which of the states? Everybody is in every state. You may not be in your state, but what you are offering to that state may be better than what even indigents are offering. You cannot be telling them go to your state. If that's the situation, why not let us tell everybody that use also the mineral in your state? That means some states don't have anything to hold on to. If that location is not coming, they are also being cut off. So the work influencers are doing, as long as everybody is thinking about the good of the country, Nigeria, good, public good, yes. If you are protesting, let it be for public good, yes. If you are advising people as a level of influencers is public good, yes. Work within the law. For some of us, that is just it. Don't go against it, don't go above it. Both for the citizens, both for the government.
Okay.
And for the law enforcement officers, they should always use that be impartial, because they are there for generally for everybody.
The hashtag End SARS protest meant that SARS, as of then, was not serving the purpose he intended, or was not working for the good of Nigerians, so they rather call for an end to it. Now that we're having hashtag end bad governance, are they saying that what we have right now is bad governance and they should end it?
They are not saying end bad government.
Governance.
It's governance.
Yeah, end bad governance.
So governance is more of a process.
Yeah.
So policies, decisions, they have not been people-centered. They have been anti-people. So for people at the helm of affairs, they are making decisions to suit them, not the people. That is what people are talking about. That is the governance they are talking about. A government that will be accountable to the people. If you are making decision, reach out to us or tell us that this decision we are making, and then you give room for feedback. That is why when laws are being made, also there's opportunity for people to make inputs. But currently there are also some decisions that the particular government, I think currently they are talking about extension of the tenure of the IGP. But the civil service rule also talks about 60 to 35 years in service. Anything inconsistent with that is not avoided. But currently I'm still hearing something at the national level where they have also worked towards elongation of that. Those are the abnormalities in the system that people are not comfortable with, and you don't even give people right to actually also make inputs to it. So before people know about something, you already have passed the bill. Before they know about this, you have decided. People have shown at different times that they have said about getting a jet for the president and all that. People have made their comments, their opinions online and everything. For a responsive government, you don't go ahead with it. But this particular government have been, whatever, they will just decide certain things, whether it's for the good of the people or not. They have been doing that over the time.
All right.
So those are the things people are concerned about. Make decisions or policies that have a bearing on the people, not for you.
In reaction stories, Stephen, the president said wait for 2027 to vote out any governor or governments that you feel is not people oriented or people centered.
That is why we have a constitution that gives right for election into government, and we also elect people to check you. When those persons fail to check you, that is why that section 39 is provided for the people to check you. And when you say constitution is supreme, it's because it recognizes the right of citizens. Under military, there's limitation. That is why any military, when they come on ground, what do? The first thing they do is suspend the constitution. That means everything is based on how they decide it is. But as long as that constitution is present, it means the rights of citizens are respected and is supreme. So that section 39, that is why it's there. When the other options of the checks, the judiciary, the other options of the legislature that have failed the people, it still gives that right to them to air out their views through protest. So it's not to criminalize them. I keep saying that it's not to criminalize them. Protest is not a crime. Protest is a right that should be respected, at all times.
In 2020, during the NSAS protest, the international community followed that process, the protest. Concerning this hashtag end bad governance, has there been anything from the international community? Has there been anything, because at your level, the things you do, you hear from them more than most persons. So has there been anything the international community has said concerning this protest on the 1st of August?
If you look at before the protest started then in Lagos, or started in Lagos before it expanded to other locations, you will naturally not see any comments from any international body or anybody trying to say anything. When the protest started, that was when, because what is happening in Nigeria, once in a while, other international governments that have interest in the country may respond to certain things. Why? Because they have citizens here that may be affected directly or indirectly. So there are certain things they'll be able to make inputs to. So in this part, just like the NSAS, when it started, nobody was saying anything. It started first before persons started also commenting. And for this one, it's same. Why international bodies also respond to this is because Nigeria as a country does not exist on its own. We are part of different organizations, maybe Commonwealth organizations or different organizations.
Charters.
So we are also signatory to different protocols or charters or whatever. Universal Declaration on Human Rights among all that. So as long AU among UN and all that. So as long as we are a member of such a body, they are universally accepted. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. These laws we have in our constitution are even just some of the laws, some of the rights as enshrined in Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it's supposed to be respected by all countries. So if at the level of UN, at the level of African Union, they are looking at your country failing to adhere to the tenets of these laws, they actually reach out to you or encourage you or issue press releases or reach out to you that please, you have to allow these people this, they are working within the law. So there's always that guide, there's always that intervention, there's always that support. Or sometimes you look at the special repertoire on extrajudicial killings coming to Nigeria during after the NSAS, or sometimes on civic rights, different bodies coming like that. It's because that is their responsibility to actually ensure we have all 5 or 6 persons come together and sign something. Immediately you sign that law, it means you have to comply to it. So if you are not complying to it, the leadership of our leadership or the head of our union will certainly reach out to you, say you are signatory to this, you have to adhere to it.
Okay, I'm going to move back a little bit on the president calling for more time so that his policies, people will see the beauty of his policies. Recently there has been free distribution of fertilizers to farmers cut across the states of the federation, and what will even cushion price in the market of goods, and particularly that of food stuff, is if there is mass production. And you see, so far so good that the Tinubu-led administration has been seeing how they can make farming more easy for people by even making available fertilizers for free and timely at that to farmers to help boost production. And when there is high production, automatically it's going to affect prices of these goods in the markets. So the time that he's been calling for, or don't you think that we're wrapping up now, that there is some level of sincerity in him trying to call for time, and eventually if they will give this time, it will work out, rather than seeking this protest that has signals. Now these signals, my concern is because of the political interest in this protest, and I would hate to see Nigerian youths' lives being lost or being sacrificed, because at the end of the day, everybody will move on with their lives, and those that are gone will be gone for good.
The first question is who are these farmers that they have actually reached out to? That's the first question. Secondly, for you to be able, even as a farmer, for you to be able to go to your farms, there have to be security, right? It's our community is secured enough for farming. For our state, for example, many of the persons in IDP camps, I think for our states, it's known as the state of displacement, because we have more than hundreds of thousands of persons that are displaced here in the state. I'm saying this because for the Gumadaldo shelters, the organization I was working with got support and actually erected the first building there. So I was privileged to also be the first person to allocate rooms to people. So I was with displaced population. I work with even refugees. So when you are talking about farmers and these persons, these displaced persons in thousands are farmers, and you are bringing fertilizers, right, to come and give to people. These farmers that have been displaced, what have you done to return them back? Is their community secured, or currently is their community being owned? Why are they still in camp after so many years? Because the persons you may be giving fertilizers now, most persons in Benue State, they don't do large farming like before. some are just skeptical to make it around the location where a lot of persons are living. People are scared to go interior, where sometimes you go in a long interior into the bushes, and then you have a large farm. Just only you may go and inspect your farm and all that. These days, persons are scared of going to the farm. Has the government fixed that? If you don't fix insecurity, farming won't even work in the first place. And if 3/4 of persons that are actually farmers are displaced, and you are giving fertilizers, of what use has that translated into helping the people? So you have to look at the return. You have to be practically do something, be intentional about it. In other states like in Northeast, crisis or displacement happened here before Northeast, in Benue State before Northeast. But in Northeast, immediately it started, they formed the commission and billions were allocated for return and all that. For this state, it has not been so. If it was not because of the support of UNHCR that have been consistent in being in this state for a long period of time, our IDPs, people that have not been going there, kindly find time to go there. People are dying there still date. It rained yesterday, and just imagine people trying to live in tarpaulins and all that. With the rain and floods that come, you are sleeping on the bare ground, and then you are telling people about farming. Do they have farms currently? So when some decisions are just made to just close people's eyes to the reality on ground, not that really they have interest. And then there are also reports of GMOs, yes, genetically modified organisms or seedlings that are being given to people. Some of these are not even healthy for people, but the same seedlings that other countries may reject in their own country, we bring it into our country, and everything that comes into it's like a dumping ground for people generally. People produce external companies produce two types of seedlings. They produce the one that will be acceptable to other countries, and then they will type that they will just bring to Nigeria. And all the seedlings that are harmful to citizens will take it. Why is it that a lot of persons are getting sick daily? Children are having cancer. Everybody is having the one issue or the other. And we keep using sugar sweetened beverages, Fanta, Coke, and all these things. Go to international, the same production, to the same sugar sweetened beverages that we have in the country here. The same people, if they are exporting that same products, the quality they export to other countries are different from the ones they bring into the country here. So the government have to be intentional about this things, not just doing it for the fun of it. If a government wants to consistently subsidize payment for fertilizers, get a company, maybe can in each of the zones have fertilizer companies on ground, produce, right, and then let it go around to people. Okay, and be consistent with it.
I'll need you to talk to Benue State citizens and of course Nigerians as far as this protest is concerned. We need your advice.
Okay.
30 seconds.
As a word wrapping up.
Yeah,
okay, so for wonderful citizens and my brothers and sisters in Benue, the advice here is this: protest is a right, and you are being encouraged to, at any time where the government have failed to do what is expected for us as citizens, you can go out there to protest. But as you are doing that, always ensure you are working within the law, the guidance of the law. You are not supposed to protest and follow the routes that you want to follow and protest. But as you are protesting, know that other citizens also have their rights. People that are not protesting, you are supposed to just move your way. Don't ignore them and just do your own. Don't touch, don't victimize, don't harm, and don't also limit them from also exercising their rights of movement.
Right. I think
so also from the side of the police itself, outside the citizens itself, the police on their own also have to exercise neutrality in also policing protest. They also have to try to see non-violent ways of engagement with the citizens as well. Let the citizens see you as their friend, and also try to work with the police. The police is a creation of the law, but it's from us, our brothers and sisters that are into the police. It's not that they pick people from different places.
All right, I think that's
so. Let's work together.
That's a good place
to have a better country.
to leave it. We'll look forward to having a very interesting moment with you in the near future. Maybe when the protests or is not happening, why it's not happening, maybe you need to come tell us why it didn't happen, and if it happened, you are going to give us maybe a review of it. Thank you very much for coming.
Certainly, I will always be available.
All right, we've been talking to Emmanuel Ikule. Emmanuel Ikule is the executive director of Elixir Trust Foundation. He's also a human rights advocate and a security analyst. Thank you for staying with us. We've had a very wonderful moment, and we expect you to think on what he has said today, think on what he's saying again concerning this protest, and you should do the needful. Even if the protest is going to hold, we advise that you do the needful, do the right thing, protest within the confines of the law. The place where your rights end is where somebody else's begin. So do not infringe in the rights of other Nigerians as far as you are going to participate in this protest, if it is going to hold at all. My name is Stephen Abba.
My name is Mercy. Benue Television News of World Class now here. Stay with us.